Guys, Nick here, and welcome back to another Supergirl episode review. My thoughts on tonight's episode of Supergirl titled The Falling, I believe. And this was a really, really great episode. It's funny because, like, watching this episode, because, I mean, I watched all 10 seasons of Smallville, so when the word came out that, they're going to do a Red Kryptonite-based episode, I'm like, oh, here we go again. Because in Smallville, they did the whole Red Kryptonite thing so many times, just because they wanted to bring out Bad Boy Clark. And I don't know, I just, like, they used it so many times in that show, that I was like, oh, I have to see it again. But, this show, I mean, they used it in a way that I was expecting, but at the same time, they took kind of almost like a darker twist on it. In the way that Kara acted, and the way she reacted to certain things, and how she didn't, I don't know, just like, she was a lot more dark of a character than I was expecting. I mean, she said and did certain things that I was expecting. Like, the whole thing with Siobhan and making her get fired and all that stuff. I was kind of expecting that kind of attitude and behavior. But the stuff when she was talking to Alex, throwing some really low blows, going to James and telling him all the stuff about Lucy, and one of the best things about this episode is that, like, it's not just like a one and done, like, oh, we're just gonna forget about what just happened. Like, no, like, there are serious consequences for what Kara did and what her actions led to in this episode. Like, especially with I think hands down my favorite scene in the episode, that scene between Kat and Kara at the end, when Kara's just sitting there on Kat's balcony, just talking about how beautiful the city is and looking at all the windows, how all those windows represent a light, and, like, every time she saves someone, like that light becoming part of her, and saying how, like, she obviously she's sorry, but at the same time, Kara she knows what she did. She's taking responsible for what she did, but at the same time, like, she wants to earn the city's trust back, and Cash just like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that it's gonna be easy for you, because it's not. That's I'm not saying that it's impossible. That whole conversation is like, the last, like, I would say, like, 10 minutes of this episode, like, once Kara finally snaps out of it, it was just so emotional. And you know what? Like, people have their gripes with this show, and I've seen, like, so many commenting boards, or commenting areas, comment threads on various websites, and people complaining about this show. It's like, you know what? Like, a lot of people can't get past the fact that, like, this show is about a girl who deals with real human issues. Like, yeah, she's Supergirl. Yeah, she's a Kryptonian. But at the end of the day, she's a person with feelings. And a lot of times, like especially the stupid fanboys don't want to get past that. It's like, okay, you can appreciate something just because it's not necessarily directed at you. Like, look, like, okay, Supergirl is a comic book show. You're going to get fanboys just for being a comic book show. But what makes this show so great is that it's not just a comic book show. It's a show that's dealing with real characters, dealing with real emotional issues. Like, yes, they're fighting weird aliens, and yes, it's about a girl flying around, and we have a Martian in there, and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, these are real people, again, with real emotions dealing with issues. And fans some stupid fanboys don't want to get past that. And it's like, you know what, like, the show, we don't need that kind of crap anyway, because this show is, obviously it's not for everyone. And I understand, like, certain criticisms that the show has, but you know what? Like, this show has real depth to it that week after week, even with filler episodes, like, for the most part, I really, really enjoy them. And this was a show that, I was mildly optimistic for, but this show has really grown on me, and it's become, like, my second favorite DC show behind The Flash. Because I feel like, in general, there's not enough female-led TV shows in general, and finally have, especially with superheroes in movies and stuff, we have yet to have a successful female-led superhero movie. And finally seeing that coming about with Wonder Woman coming out next year, and seeing more female superheroes on the TV with Supergirl, and then, like, Black Canary and all that stuff on Arrow. Just seeing this, like, the rise of female superheroes in media in general. Like, and for me, being the fanboy that I am, like, I put all the stupid fanboyisms aside, just be like, you know what, like, I'm really freaking excited. Like, week after week, like, this is a show, again, I had mildly optimistic expectations, but I freaking love this show. And it's a lot, like, people don't give it the credit that I think it deserves. again, it's emotional. It has emotional depth. I feel like I've been rambling all for a while, but you know what? It's true. This show is freaking awesome. In this episode, for it being like, you can almost classify it as a filler because it's not dealing with the whole like the theme of, or like the serious like storyline of the season, but what happened in tonight's episode is gonna have consequences. It's gonna have repercussions leading into following episodes, and I cannot wait to see how the show deals with that. Because this episode, yeah, we had like Kara dealing with the whole red kryptonite thing, but again, her actions in this episode are gonna have some serious consequences. So, with that being said, let me get to other things I like about this episode. What else? One thing I have noticed week after week is Kara's fighting skills are getting way, way better. Because at first, you're just kind of like flying punches, like, like that kind of like, I don't know, just like almost like lazy fight choreography. But at the time, I understood like, okay, like Kara like just became a superhero. She doesn't really have the best fighting skills. Like she's not like Batman or anything. But week after week, I think they're getting a lot better, especially with the fight choreography and her fighting the aliens. And you know what, like with the show, and then now when in the pilot when they're talking about Fort Ross and they're gonna have all the escapees and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, here we go, like more and more villains of the week. But you know, they really aren't using villains of the week all that much. Even in this episode, when they had that weird orange, big-headed, whatever villain, they used him barely, but they used him as a way to tell the story of Kara being under the influence of red kryptonite, and further that, and not necessarily deal with the guy who's the alien. You know, like they got that out of the way like halfway through the episode. So it's like, oh damn, like awesome. And because obviously these villains are all terrible. They look terrible. Anyways, well, I lost my train of thought for a second. But what else is there to talk about? Because I'm here looking at the notes I took in the episode. Cat Grant, she's a character that, if you guys have been watching my videos for any period of time, you know that I freaking hated Cat Grant the first couple of episodes. I cannot stand that character. I hated everything that they were doing with her. Cat's one of my favorite characters in the show now. Just because now, like, they make her a more human character. Before she was, like, so tough and stern. Just, like, she felt really, like, one-dimensional to me. She didn't feel like a character with that much depth. And now that they've explored that character a little more and shown a more of a human side to her, and seeing this episode in the beginning of the episode where they start out with, like, her being on, like, that show, The Talk, like the actual show, The Talk, that was really weird to me. Like, okay, hold up. You got Cat Grant going to a real life talk show. That I just thought that was really weird and like out of place. I don't know. Like it was kind of cool seeing like a real world like element to it, but it was just like it kind of took me out for a second. But one of the things I enjoyed about the beginning of this episode was the positive vibe that it had, ultimately leading into like all the shit that went down. And starting out just like so cheerful and just like I love that like. That's one of the things I love about this show is that it's not so dark and depressing. Like I don't like shows like Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Arrow the first couple of seasons. I mean, it's just seeing a hero out in the light and inspiring people, inspiring little girls. And that's another thing, that's why I think there needs to be more female superheroes. Because look, in this episode, you can see, like, obviously, like, it's a show, because they're going to do that. They said that little girl inspired to be like Supergirl, and she's getting picked on and stuff, and then here comes Kara swooping in, trying to help that little girl who's being bullied. Like, that can inspire, like, real girls in real life to, like, want to be a good person and have good values and not just look at, like, oh, there's Superman, like, I gotta look at to him because I don't have anyone else. Like, that's I think one of the better things about this show. What else? Obviously, the fight between Kara and Hank, when he finally puts himself out there as Martian Manhunter, and they're having that fight in the city, that was freaking awesome. I always love seeing more of, like, the Martian Manhunter, and the way he looks. He just looks so awesome, and, like, that's how I would want Martian Manhunter to look in live action. And there's almost like, at least to me, almost like a Young Justice-y kind of vibe to the way he looks. For any of you guys who know what Young Justice is, it was this DC animated show dealing with like almost like the Teen Titans mixed with Justice League kind of thing. Martian Manhunter was a big character in it, and I really liked how he looked. I don't know. And seeing that whole fight, again, like, with this episode dealing with the consequences of what's gonna happen, or what's been going on, Hank turning himself in and revealing that, you know, like Hank, the real Hank Henshaw is dead, and he's a Martian now, like, that's gonna have some serious consequences. Like, I really want to know, like, he's gonna get out eventually, because it's Martian Manhunter. or maybe the show will throw us for a loop, and maybe they'll kill him off. Hopefully they don't, but who knows with these shows? You really don't know. And just I pretty much loved everything about this episode, except for certain scenes with Kara being under the influence of the red kryptonite. Because I was like, okay, I've seen this before on Smallville, so it's nothing new to me. But I like that, and I like how everyone kind of caught onto it somewhat quickly, so they can finally just move on with the episode. But yeah, other than that, I love this episode. I really did. So yeah, I think with that being said, that's going to be it for me. So if you guys like what you see here, go ahead and hit subscribe below. I do review Supergirl every week when it's not on a weird 2-week hiatus. I review Flash on Tuesdays, Arrow on Wednesdays, Legends of Tomorrow on Thursdays, and a bunch of other stuff in between. And I'm so excited. Next Thursday, Batman vs. Superman is finally out. I am unbelievably excited for that movie. I think that's my most anticipated movie of all time. I've waited so long for that movie, so expect a review for that probably late Thursday night. So, and you guys, if you guys liked the episode, let me know in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up. Again, let me know what you guys thought. So yeah, that's going to be it for me. So until next time, guys, have a good one.